Welcome to my CBSE English teacher. Today let's look at the second part of the line by line explanation of the chapter, The Address from Class 11 English. If you're watching my video for the first time, please subscribe. You can listen to the explanations of chapters from classes 10, 11 and 12 English. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. Let's move on to the video now. So we saw how the narrator was going in search of her mother's belongings. First, she did not want to go and get those things because she was kind of frightened because they would bring back the memories of her mother, and her mother was no more. So now let's continue with the lesson. But gradually everything became more normal again. So after the war, the girl went in search of her mother's possessions and she went to the house. The address was given to her by her mother, but the lady did not want to see her. She told her to come again some other time. So then again she keeps thinking about the past. She thinks of how she met Mrs. Darling for the first time, etc. And now again she is thinking about the times after the war. But gradually everything became more normal again. So after the war, things were getting normal again. Bread was getting to be lighter in color and there was a bed you could sleep in unthreatened. That means all the food availability was becoming normal again, and then you could also have a good sleep without being frightened about the war and other dangerous situations during the war. A room with a view you were more used to glancing at each day. That means things were becoming normal like any other day. So, and one day I noticed I was curious about all the possessions that must be still at that address. So then what happened after the war, when everything began to get normal, she suddenly felt that she wanted to go and get all the things that belonged to her mother, and the address was already told to her by her mother. I wanted to see them, touch them, remember. After my first visit in vain to Mrs. Darling's house, I decided to try a second time. So first time she went and it was in vain. That means it was of no use because the lady first tried to not recognize her. Then she said she does not have time to talk to her and asked her to come another time. So now she says that she is going to go there for the second time and try to get those things for herself. Now a girl of 15 opened the door to me. I asked her if her mother was at home. So she went there the second time. So it was not Mrs. Darling who opened the door. It was a girl who was about 15 years old who opened the door. And she asked her for her mother. No, she said, my mother's doing an errand. So the girl who opened the door told her that her mother was doing an errand. Errand means running a small shopping or something, went for some shopping or things like that. No matter, I said, I'll wait for her. So the narrator said that she would wait for the mother. I followed the girl along the passage. An old fashioned iron Hanukkah hung next to a mirror. So she went inside along with the girl and she saw an old fashioned iron Hanukkah. Hanukkah is nothing but a candle stand. So that was hung near the mirror. We never used it because it was much more cumbersome than a single candlestick. So she saw the candlestick and she remembered that it belonged to her mother, and she also tells us that they never used the thing because it was cumbersome. Cumbersome means not very comfortable than a single candlestick. Won't you sit down? Asked the girl. And so the girl asked her to take her seat. She held open the door of the living room and I went inside past her. So then she went inside the living room next. I stopped horrified. I was in a room I knew and did not know. So as soon as she entered the living room, she felt horrified because she saw that all the belongings of her mother were there dumped inside that room. That is why she is saying that I was in a room that I knew and did not know. Knew because it was somebody, all her belongings were there. Did not know because the house was somebody else's. I found myself in the midst of things I did want to see again, but which oppressed me in the strange atmosphere. So by looking at the things, and it was all kept in a very strange atmosphere, she felt very depressed. She felt very sad because the way it was lying all around, or because of the tasteless way in which everything was arranged, because of the ugly furniture, of the muggy smell that hung there. I don't know, but I scarcely dared to look around. So she was not happy by the way in which the things were kept in that room, and not only that, there was also this muggy and musty smell that was coming around inside the room. So she did not feel like looking at all those things. The girl moved a chair. I sat down and stared at the woolen tablecloth. So she gave her a chair to sit, and when she sat down, she looked at the tablecloth, the woolen tablecloth. I rubbed it. My fingers grew warm from rubbing. I followed the lines of the pattern. So it looked as if she was very familiar with the tablecloth, because that tablecloth also belonged to her. Somewhere on the edge there should be a burnt mark, and that never had been repaired. So she already knew that tablecloth had a burnt mark somewhere, and she was searching for it. My mother will be back soon, said the girl. I have already made tea for her. Will you have a cup? So the girl also offered her some tea. Thank you. I looked up. The girl put cups ready on the table. So she was going to serve her some tea, and so she kept the cups ready on the table. She had a broad back just like her mother. So this girl must have been Mrs. Darling's daughter. So she also had a broad back just like her mother. She poured tea from a white pot. All it had was a gold border on the lid, I remembered. So she remembered even the teacups and the teapot. Everything belonged to her. She remembers even the gold border on it. She opened a box and took some spoons out. That's a nice box, I heard my own voice. It was strange voice, as though each sound was different in this room. So by looking at each and everything, she began to talk to herself as if she recognized everything. Oh, you know about them? She had turned around and brought me my tea. So when she said that it is a nice box, the girl heard it and asked her, oh, how do you know about these things? Oh, you already know about these things. She turned around and brought me my tea. She laughed. My mother says it is antique. We have got lots more. She pointed around the room. So the girl told this narrator that these are all antique materials. Antique means very old collection, and that they have got many more. Actually, all these things belong to the narrator. You remember Mrs. Darling used to go to their house and carry the valuable things. So all these are the things that she had carried from their house and kept it here. So now she remembered by looking at each and everything that all these were carried from her own house to this house by Mrs. Darling. See for yourself. I knew need to follow her hand. I knew which things she meant. So the girl wanted the narrator to look around, but she said that I don't want anybody's directions. I can do everything myself because I already know about all these things. I just looked at the still life over the table. As a child, I had always fancied the apple on the pewter plate. So what is the still life over the tea table? So it's a drawing or a painting on the tea table. And when she was a child, she always used to like the picture of the apple kept on the pewter plate. Pewter plate is a plate made of some alloy or a metal. So we use it for everything, she said. So she said that she used to use that for everything. Once we even ate off the plates hanging there on the wall. I wanted to so much, but it wasn't anything special. I had found the burnt mark on the tablecloth. So she was talking about the plates, about the pictures on the table, etc. And she was so sure that all these things belonged to her. So, and finally, as she was talking, she was searching for the burnt mark on the tablecloth, and she was able to find that also. So the girl looked questioningly at me. So when she was explaining so much about all these things, the girl looked at her questioningly because she never knew how this girl was able to talk so much about all these things. Yes, I said, you get used to touching all these lovely things in the house. You hardly look at them anymore. You only notice when something is missing because it has to be repaired or because you have lent it, for example. So this girl, the narrator, started explaining that. So you become so used to your things, you know that it is there, but you will start realizing it only when these things are missing or when you have given it to somebody that these things are not there. So that means she was trying to tell the girl that all these things belong to her and she knew it for quite a long time and it had gone missing somehow or the other. Again I heard the unnatural sound of my voice and I went on. I remember my mother once asked me if I would help her polish the silver. So she again continued to talk, and she told the girl that I remember that once my mother told me to polish all the silver. Silver here means the cutlery. So it was a very long time ago, and I was probably bored that day, or perhaps I had to stay at home because I was ill, as she never asked me before. So she was trying to tell the girl that all these things belong to her, and she is aware of it, that all these are taken away from her home. And she also told her that her mother once asked her to polish the silver because she was there at home, she was ill or something, and she had not gone out anywhere. I asked her which silver she meant, and she replied, surprised, that it was a spoons, forks, and knife, of course. So the girl also showed her all the forks, spoons, and knives. And that was the strange thing. I didn't know the cutlery we ate of every day was silver. The girl laughed again. I bet you don't know it. It is either. I looked intently at her. So the narrator never knew that all the cutlery she had was were made of silver. And even this girl, the daughter of Mrs. Darling herself, never knew that they were made of silver as well. What we eat with? She asked. Well, do you know? She hesitated. So she also wanted to know whether the spoons and forks that she ate with were also made of silver. So she walked to the sideboard and wanted to open a drawer. I'll look in. It's in here. I jumped up. So the girl said she was going to look for the silver cutlery that they had. So I was forgetting the time. I must catch my train. She had her hand on the drawer. Don't you want to wait for my mother? No, I must go. So suddenly the narrator remembered that it was getting late, and she said she wanted to go. And the daughter, Mrs. Darling's daughter, asked her if she was not going to wait for her mother or not. Then this girl said that no, I must go. I walked to the door. The girl pulled the drawer open. I can't find my own way. As I walked down the passage, I heard the jingling of spoons and forks. So she was coming out of the house, and by the time she could hear, the girl was opening the drawer containing the forks and spoons. At the corner of the road, I looked up the name plate, Marconi Street, it said. It had been at number 46. The address was correct. So once again, she looked at the name plate that was there outside and the address written on it. So it was Marconi Street, number 46, Marconi Street. The address was correct. But now I didn't want to remember it anymore. I wouldn't go back there because the objects that were linked in your memory with the familiar life or former times instantly lose their value when severed from them. You see them in a strange surroundings. So she said that I didn't want to go back to that place again because all those things that belonged to her and which belonged to her mother also now have become useless, because now her mother itself is not there. And so what is the use of having all those things? And not only that, they bring back the memories. So she did not want to go back to such a surroundings. And what should I have done with them in a small rented room where the shreds of blackout paper still hung along the windows, and no more than a handful of cutlery fitted in the narrow table drawer? And moreover, now she was living in a small rented house. It had a small table, and she already had a small set of cutlery fitted to the table drawer. So she said that she does not want to remember the address, and she does not want to get the possession of those things that were taken away from her home by Mrs. Darling. I resolved to forget the address. So I resolved means I decided to forget the address. Which address? Number 46, Marconi Street. Of all the things I had to forget, that would be the easiest. So the best thing is to forget the address, so that I will not think of those things which had once had a connection with my mother. Now my mother is no more, and I don't want to have those things at all. So what she feels is it is the easiest to forget the address, so that she would not have all those memories that she did not want to remember. So this lesson also talked to us about the difficult situations that people face during situations like war, etc. So here during the war time, she had missed all the things from her house. That means somebody took away all those things, and after the war she wanted to get them back. And how she tried to get them back and how she decided to forget them is the story in the address. I hope you liked today's video. For more informative videos, do subscribe to my CBSE English teacher. Like, share and give your valuable comments below. Thank you for watching.